Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for coming. Welcome to South of the Borough's Neighbourhood Committee meeting on the 27th of March. We would like to say welcome to everybody that's with us in person tonight, but also to those of us that are watching online. As most of you know, my name is Councillor Helen Grocott. I'm the chair of this committee, and in the event of an emergency, the evacuation procedure is to leave by one of the fire exits and gather on the tennis court. Anyone requiring assistance, please remain in your seats and an officer will assist you from the building. If you wish to follow this agenda in your home from your tablet or smartphone, you can do so by going to our website and following the links from your council on the homepage. Then you go to council meeting calendar and you'll find the meeting on today's date. We are filming this for broadcast on the council's YouTube channel, and an archived version will be available to view shortly after the meeting finishes. If we do need to stop proceedings for any adjournments, then we will suspend the broadcasting. And please remind members, please make sure your microphones are switched on. The one on the desk is automatically switched on, so you don't need to switch it on when you come to speak. Can I please ask, if you haven't already, to put your mobile phones on silent? And I'm going to ask every member of the committee to introduce themselves, starting with Eunice, just to keep you on the ball.
Okay. Eunice Hamadi, Principal Engineer. I present the Highway Department. Thank you.
Richard Dean, Neighbourhood Manager for South of the Borough.
Councillor Steph Archer for Hook and Chesington North.
Councillor Sue Ansari, Hook and Chesington North.
Hello everyone, Hafia Filaka, Hook and Chesington North. Thank you.
Herman Kwan, Democratic Services.
Good evening, Councillor Mark Bain in King George's and Sunray.
Thank you very much, everyone. Although it looks deceivingly short, we do have quite a packed agenda, so I will attempt to keep the meeting moving as briskly as possible. I'm aware that several people need to get away at certain times, so we may change the proceedings around depending on who comes, who goes, and when people arrive. So item 1, please, are public questions. As you know, we have a period of no more than 30 minutes, during which any resident or anyone that works in the borough can ask questions on matters relevant to the committee. We have got some questions in advance, so please make your questions concise, and if you need to preface the question with a statement, please do so briefly. So I'm going to ask Sue Towner, please, to come up first. Thank you, Sue.
He noticed a number of concrete delivery lorries and lorries carrying rubble in Green Lane, suggesting major construction. As there haven't been any planning applications for that area, is the council aware of what's going on, please, given the fact that there have been problems in that particular area? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sue. So I believe that this has been passed on to our planning team, who obviously aren't here tonight, and they will be able to respond to you in writing, if that's okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. That was very brief. Thank you very much. Colin, are you all right? Are you happy to come up? Yes. Okay. So please, Colin, if you would like to come up, thank you.
Sitting far enough away from me so you won't catch anything.
I'm more worried about your health, sir.
It's better than it was. I have a few questions. One's St Mary's Primary School. I had a message left on my phone by a concerned resident on Wednesday, 20th of March. We've been away, didn't see it till Thursday night, 11 o'clock. I spoke to the lady the next day, and it was concerning the way the parents park at St Mary's. Now, I know in other parts of the borough you have I think it's the safer schools, where cars can't go into that area within a certain time. Obviously, at Church Lane, Church Rise, it's just not possible. I spoke to the school. The parking was bad, and then when I spoke to the lady that phoned, she contacted the school sent letters out to the parents, and the parents parked responsibly. And then when I spoke to the school, they said, yes, this comes and goes, this is quite often. And I said to them, were they happy that I mentioned it tonight? She said, yes. I also gave her Ollie Shearer's phone number, email address, because at one time there used to be a police officer who would go around there and keep an eye on them, and it hasn't happened for quite a while. So I thought maybe our PCSOs could go around again just to show a face to stop the parents from parking. It's not an easy answer because you've got the 71 bus route goes down there. It gets quite congested. It's really just a case of letting the council know whether the council, the school and the police can work together and do anything to make it safer for the children. This person said that had, over the period of time, I don't know when, been a couple of accidents there and some near misses, and parents just park, abandon the cars. Apparently next to where they go in, there's an alleyway that children walk in. Next to that, some houses have been built. There's a driveway there. And apparently some lady parked on the driveway just to unload the children. Whether that was with their permission, I don't know. So it's a bit...
So just to sum up, is your question, can members support some sort of communication?
Yes. Can the council look into maybe helping to make it safer? Because it's something which happens, they tell the parents to behave themselves, they do it and then they drift back again, they park, abandon the cars.
I may bring in Councillor Archer,
who might
be able to answer it. Colin, because you've got another couple of questions,
yeah.
We'll just move on.
So it's just
certainly
just to make you aware. I'm not asking for an answer tonight. It's just something that I think the council can look at.
So certainly what we can do with the minutes is I will ask Herman to ensure that the process for any resident to report dangerous parking or parking that's over the end of driveways or parking that's unsafe can be reported by anyone, and then that will prompt our enforcement team to come. So that's something that we will put with the minutes so that can be passed on to the residents that you've got contact with.
And let the school know as well.
The school will be able to read that like anyone can on the website. That's the responsibility of the school to do, and the headmaster or headmistress. But I wondered, Councillor Archer, whether there's anything you wanted to add.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always up for a school street, but I do think this circumstance is just too difficult.
It's not practical.
So I wonder, it'd be really interesting talking to residents on the streets, surrounding streets, to see what they think, whether there's possible like double yellow lines in certain places at key points. Certainly more communication with the parents, just about reiterating maybe the school needs to be emailing termly or half-termly, really regular updates. Patrols.
I think it's really telling the parents to use common sense and park sensibly.
Yeah, and whether it sounds like the school just needs to put those messages out very, very regularly. I mean, I would almost argue if you've got a weekly newsletter, have it every week in the newsletter, making sure the kids, because I know that all schools have a school travel plan, where head teachers and, teachers can reinforce those messages with the children saying, park and stride, or, and you get prizes if you walk or scoot to school rather than driving. Because let's be honest, St Mary's is a very local school. So obviously everyone's got their own circumstances, but in theory, everyone really should be able to walk or scoot to school, shouldn't they? So I guess it's just reinforcing those messages. But I get, if we just communicate with head teachers. I mean, I don't think that there's much the police can do, because it's not their remit.
No, it's just a case of they turn up and the parents see them, so they park properly.
I'm going to bring in Eunice, who's our highways expert.
Thank you, Chair. Actually, this is nothing new.
No,
it's
I
all
know.
our schools, they have such problems. How we address it as, first, we need to have a site meeting or a meeting with the school in order to understand what they are doing, because my experience, some school they do nothing, and some school they say the minute the kid's out of the school, it's not my responsibility. I'm afraid some schools do that. But we need to make sure first what they are doing. First. Second, we need to visit the site during where pick up and drop the children. Then we need to look at it, what options are valuable for us in order to address it. So we can come up with some sort of way to restriction during peak hour, in the morning or in the afternoon to prevent people. Because enforcement by our parking enforcement cannot take place unless there is restriction. So unless there is weighting restriction, we can't enforce it. However, if anybody parking outside people's driveways, we can. So all what I advise all the residents, if anybody parking outside their driveway, there is a number on our website. Contact it, call it, and somebody from the enforcement will come along and will issue ticket to that person. So if it's not your car, just call the council, the enforcement team, and they should come and issue ticket to that person. But the way forward with the way you addressed it, I think I will ask one of my team to attend at least site visit, establish the extent of the problem, what possible option, and I'll talk to the ward members to see what is available for us to take it forward.
I think it's a case of speaking to the headmistress and seeing what she wants to do.
Thank
Because
you.
the-
I'm going to move on now. Sorry, Colin, because we have got time,
Okay.
and you've got two other questions. So would you like to move on to your second question about traffic management, please?
Traffic management. Again, it's an email that I had. This person said that they're driving back from Claygate into Clayton Road, they saw that there was a freshly installed traffic detection loop cut into the surface of the road. Is this for RBK use or installed on behalf of TfL, allowing road pricing to be introduced at the Greater London boundary? No, I haven't seen it, so I'm guessing that something's happened at the other end of Clayton Road.
We've got Eunice here, who's our highways expert, so we can ask the question. So would you mind just repeating the question again?
Yeah, what they asked was,
Is there something?
there's a freshly installed traffic detection loop cut into the road surface as you come from Claygate into Clayton Road. Is it for RBK or is it installed on behalf of TfL, where he's talking about road pricing to be introduced in the future? I don't need an answer. It's just a question someone's asked.
Okay, any loop, it is on the street. Usually we put loop, us or TfL. At the end of the day, TfL put it in our behalf, on our behalf as Kingston Council.
Yeah.
The reason for that, there is a system on modelling, we call it SCOOT, and that is to link the traffic signal to each other's. So this will tell us how many queue or whatever the level of traffic at that location, so we can use it for the modelling perspective. So I'm not quite sure if that is what you're referring to.
I don't think at that end there are any traffic lights. If it's where I'm thinking
No,
of.
it's far from that traffic light,
Okay.
not at that traffic light, because we need to measure the queue length.
Yeah.
Then you need to work on the modelling in order to move, to change the green time at different location to ease the queue. But any loop, it's got to be under our permit if it is our land, if it is highway properties. But sometimes this will be for TfL. They seek a permit from Kingston Council, but they put it there for loop or whatever reason.
I don't know if it is that, because if it's what I'm thinking it's the beginning of Clayton Road at the Claygate end, where you've got a number of roads you can go off. You don't need to get to the traffic lights.
The other thing it could be that's one of our fixed sites, because we have a fixed site in the borough at various locations where we have a loop duct in the street, so we can collect data from counters.
Okay.
That could be one of our permanent sites.
Okay.
I'm happy if you give me the location, I can look at it and come back to you.
Perfect. So the resolution for that question is if you can email Herman or email me and I can pass it to Herman of the exact location, and then we will ask Eunice to do that. Thank you. And then your last question, please.
There was about Euless cameras being cut down. The other one was when you did the borough, every road to be 20 miles an hour. I asked for the accident data, and that was the 7th of December last year, and then various emails back and forth. I had an email which James Lee got for me from the Highways Department, but the link didn't work. And since then, I've been back and forth I was told it was Alan Whiting, because the previous officer had left. Alan Whiting took over, emailed him, no reply. Emailed Matthew Hill, the boss, and he said, yeah, Alan should let you know, no reply. The last time I emailed was the 19th of March, no, 27th of March, and I still, to date, have not had the reply of what this data is that you use to make everything 20 miles an hour.
So is your question, can you be sent the link?
Yeah, the link was sent and it didn't work.
So your question is, can you be sent a link that does work?
Yes, the question that I've been asking since the beginning of this year, and nobody has replied.
So your question is, can you be sent a link that works?
Yes, can somebody answer my question in the highways?
Eunice is going to answer your question. Thank you, Eunice.
If you want the collision data for the last 5 years, I'm happy to send it to you next week. If you give me your email address, I can send you a PDF. It's not a link. I'm going to send it to you as a PDF. You can see the whole borough if you want. Yeah. It shows the accident, the collision data for the last 5 years. But the only things which you won't be able to see is the details of each collision, because that means I need 100 of pages. But that will give you, there is a dot, and you are able to see. I can bring it here and show it to you here in my system. Leave your email with us, and I'll send it to you next week.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Eunice. Thank you, Colin.
That was it. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, do we have any other public questions that haven't been written down that anyone wants to ask? No. Okay, right. Let's move on to item 2 then, please, which are petitions. So we're going to turn to petitions now. I haven't had any notice of intention to submit a petition, Herman? No. So we have no petitions. So let's move on to item 3. So apologies for absence. Herman, could you please give our apologies?
Thank you, Chair. Apologies received from Councillors Andreas Kirsch, Griselda Kirsch, and Councillor Mercer as well.
Thank you. So we move on to item 4, declarations of interest. So members are invited to declare any disclosable pecuniary interests or any other registrable or non-registrable interests relevant to items on the agenda. Do we have any members who have any interests they wish to declare? Thank you. Councillor Ansari.
Yes, item 8. I actually am helping with one of the stalls on Celebrate Chessington.
And Councillor Ansari? Sorry, Councillor Afalaka.
Similarly, I'm helping with the store on the same day for Celebrate Chessington. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So item 5, minutes. Can members agree to confirm the minutes of the meeting held on the 7th of February as a correct record? Thank you. Just quickly sign these. We are the 27th, aren't we? Thank you, Herman. Okay, so item 6. Now, unfortunately, Acting Sergeant Ollie Shearer is unable to make the meeting today, but very kindly he has produced a written report. And so I'm going to ask Richard Dean, our Neighbourhood Manager, if he could please read the report we have received from Acting Sergeant. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Chair. The report reads as follows. Following the last South of the Borough Committee, where I noted that there have been 0 residential burglaries in the last few months, I have to report that some have been committed. There was 1 reported on each ward in February and March. Suspects entered via the side alleyway to a property and accessed via the rear, either via unlocked patio doors or by forcing entry via patio doors. Interestingly, items were not taken on every occasion. Following this, crime prevention advice was sent to the SNT mailing list, of which some of you may have been in receipt. Ollie would always say, of course, please make sure that everything is locked, and where you can, make sure, if you're able, you've got either cameras with CCTV or at least some lights in vulnerable areas. He further goes on to say that they've had a drop in the theft of motor vehicle offences since conducting an operation in Chessington with our task force, following an off-road pursuit between police, motorcyclist and a stolen motorcycle. The suspect was caught and arrested. This day of action saw further arrests for drug offences and possession of an air weapon. We've also seen a decrease in the dangerous dog offences since the last South of the Borough Committee meeting, and they have seized an offending dog. This was also possibly helped in part by wide distribution of advice to dog owners in Chessington Chat magazine and the use of acceptable behaviour contracts being agreed by a number of owners who have dogs that have been deemed to be dangerous or partially dangerous. In the last 2 weeks, the team have conducted 2 early morning warrants in Chessington South in relation to the drugs trade, where they worked alongside the Metropolitan Police's County Lines enforcement team and made arrests at each warrant. We've also made arrests of a juvenile male for conspiracy to commit grievous bodily harm, although thankfully that offence didn't occur on any of our South Borough wards. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Richard. Are there any comments by members of the committee who want to have them recorded for the police? No. Okay, thank you. So we now move on to item 7, which is TfL update. Now, due to the pre-election period of the Mayor of London and the London Assembly elections for Transport for London, Due to the pre-election period of the Mayor of London and London Assembly elections, Transport for London, who were invited to come tonight to give us an update on the various items and issues that are going on in the area, have advised that their officers cannot attend. So I have asked that they provide a written report. For the members of the public, I will read this, but please make note that this is the report from TfL and not related to RBK. So they have a small report on Tolworth Roundabout and the 281 bus route consultation. So Tolworth Roundabout works on phase 3, the Kingston Road Central Reservation, which is the creation of a shared use facility for pedestrians and cyclists, is well underway, and TfL is aiming to complete these works by the 5th of April this year. The first phase of carriageway surfacing on Tolworth Roundabout has been completed, and the second phase on Kingston Road is planned to start on the 7th of April. These works will be carried out at night between 9 o'clock in the evening and 5 o'clock in the morning, and FM Conway will be delivering a letter to residents of Donaldwood Gardens to inform them of the access arrangements during the nights of the 7th and 8th of April. The new traffic signals around Tolworth Roundabout and on Kingston Road are now being installed. The first of the 3 sites on the Tolworth Broadway side is due to be commissioned this week commencing 19th of March, so last week. TfL is aiming to substantially complete the main works by the week commencing the 15th of April. The post-construction safety audit will be arranged on the completion of the works. If we move on to the 281 bus route consultation, they published their report following the consultation on their proposed changes to bus route 281. To view this consultation report, you can visit their website as stated in their report. Between the 31st of July and the 10th of September last year, TfL held a public consultation proposing changes to bus route 281 that serves Tolworth, to allow the 281 to serve the new Signal Park development and Tolworth railway station. The changes TfL proposed are summarised below. Extension of route 281 between Tolworth Broadway and Signal Park Lansdowne Close. The existing first and last stop of route 281 at Tolworth Tower would not be served, but Tolworth Broadway will be served in both directions, providing a simpler and more convenient service from the High Street. TfL received 147 responses to the consultation, and they expressed their thanks to everyone who took part. Their responses to the issues raised during the consultation were included in Annex A of the report they produced. So, following careful consideration of the feedback they received from members of the public and stakeholders, TfL has decided to proceed with the proposed changes as set out in the consultation, and it is intended that the bus service changes will be introduced in autumn of this year. All service changes will be supported with customer information. So, thank you. Moving on to item 8, the Community Grants Programme. So we move on to agenda item 8. Members of the committee and the meeting participants, you can refer to the full details in Appendix A of the agenda pack. So tonight we have 3 applications: £3,000 from the Kitchen Roots community in Chessington, a request for £2,782 from St Philip's School in Kingston, and £3,000 from the Celebrate Kingston 2024 organising committee. Now, do we have Neil? Yeah, I thought that might be you. I just wanted to check. So, Neil, we've got a request that you would like to go first.
Yes, that's fine.
So, we're going to start with your application. So, just before we do that, we're going to just to read out everyone the guidelines for everyone. So, the process tonight will be that each applicant will be allowed 3 minutes to present their proposal, following which members will have 5 minutes to ask questions. Then we will debate each application before we move on to the next one and decide how much to allocate to each applicant. So we're going to first hear St Philip's, then Kitchen Roots, then Celebrate Kingston. So Richard, please could you give a brief introduction and then we will ask Neil, thank you, to come and present. Thank you, Richard.
I'll do that, that's better, isn't it? Needless to say, for the reports to be in front of the committee, all the due diligence has been passed in each case on this. So, moving to the St Philip's application, and thank you, Chair, for altering the order slightly. An application's come for a total of £2,782 from St Philip's School, Kingston, as set out in paragraphs 12 to 17 of your report. St Philip's School is a school in Chessington, as we know, for young people aged 9 to 19 with a diverse range of additional needs, including autistic spectrum disorder, language impairment, emotional issues and sensory or medical needs. St Philip's prides itself in its ability to support students to become as independent as they possibly can in all areas of their lives. The school was established, believe it or not, in 1953, converting to an academy in 2016, and has long been a key part of our local neighbourhood. In January 2023, an Ofsted inspection rated the academy as good in all areas, with the exception of personal development, in which it was rated excellent. To support this ongoing development in the academy until it closed in 2022, had a thriving partnership with the Community Motors Group of Surbiton, a local social enterprise which delivered training to students in motor vehicle mechanics. The former training manager from Community Motors has commenced a limited course to students on site, and although some vehicles and equipment were kindly donated, more specialist tools are required in order to provide pupils with the best possible chance of success going forward. Of note in the application, and it was certainly something that I focused on, is that young people with special educational needs and disabilities leave education with only a 6% chance of securing paid employment. I thought was an exceptionally sad indictment on us, to be fair, but there you go. Providing support for this project will help to raise students' expectation, their employment aspirations, giving them new skills and confidence. Initially, Chair and members, this project was to come under the NSIL banner, as it was to build space to provide for the project to continue. But I'm very pleased to report to this committee that funding for a new vocational learning centre has already been secured, and today the Academy are asking for just £2,782 to part fund the purchase of some additional equipment to fit out the mechanics workshops that is part of this centre. Costs and equipment details are contained in Table 2 in the pack. 177 students attend the academy, many from south of the Borough and of course the wider Kingston neighbourhoods. The provision of the mechanics course will be mainly available to Key Stage 4 students, that's those aged 14 to 16, with scope for younger pupils to benefit if possible. Most importantly, students interested in mechanics will get a head start and be able to enrol on higher level courses at college, giving them a greater opportunity for securing apprenticeships and work placements. And just referring back to the table, Chair, we can see that the overall expenditure for the tools and equipment needed was actually £4,782, but further partnership funding has been sourced from the Beatrice Lang Trust of £2,000, thus leaving the request today for £2,782. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. So, Neil, would you like to come up to the microphone? It's already switched on. So you have 3 minutes, please, to speak to us about your wonderful project.
Well, thank you, Richard, for introducing the project. Sadly, I didn't actually realise that I was going to do a proper little formal presentation. So obviously, a lot of what I'm going to say perhaps might repeat what Richard has already said. But yeah, it's a very exciting time for the school. We're growing, as some of you might realise, and the new vocational centre is something that we're particularly excited about. It's a new element to the school, and whilst we've offered vocational training in the past, the links with Community Motors sadly finished, which we're really disappointed about. We had a long-standing relationship with them. And being a social enterprise, I think it was something that the head at school was really keen to support too. Having said that, we're keen to continue with our mechanics course, and the new centre we hope will have a sort of dedicated space. The good news, actually, and the little bit I can add on to that, is that we also offer a bike mechanics course at the school. I know Kingston's passionate about cycling. It's something we are as well at school. And so we're looking to combine both our cycling and our motor mechanics space together. So the equipment that we're looking for funding for will serve not only as motor mechanics, but also for bikes too. So I think that's probably a good summary of what we're looking for, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Neil, what is your role in the school?
So I'm a teacher, work in Key Stage 4. I've been there 22 years, so yeah, it's a great place.
That's great to know. So members, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Neil on the application? Councillor Archer and then Councillor Afalaka.
So yeah, really exciting. I'm
Great.
so pleased it's all going ahead, and yeah, very just thankful to you all for all the hard work you've been doing, I know, over many years to get to this point.
Yeah.
So I'm obviously fully supportive of everything that's happening here, and just delighted that you're here tonight. So how many young people would you expect to be benefiting from the motor bicycle course?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for that. Actually, it's a really important point to raise. So we would anticipate somewhere around 15 students a year would take up the option. But I think it's really important to stress that one thing we're very keen to do is to share our resources, and that's a point I hadn't raised, so give me an opportunity to do that. So we're obviously part of an academy trust. I think we've got 13 other schools, including Dysart, Beedlesford, both Kingston schools. So we're very keen to share those resources with them. And also, the heads also talked about local community usage out of school hours, maybe at the weekends. So whilst it's a relatively small number in-house, we're very, very keen to sort of spread our net further and draw more people into the school. Thank you.
Yeah, that's really good. It sounds, sorry if I might go again, it's going to be a really good sort of community resource for you guys, but I also just think about Chesterton School being just
100%.
you know, actually I'm sure there'll be young people here who would be really interested in doing stuff there, whether there could be like a twilight offer or something Saturday mornings.
Questions with debates following. Any questions, Councillor Archer?
So I think that's a really great idea. Thank you.
Questions, Councillor Afalaka?
Yeah, thank you very much for that. I think it's an exciting thing, an initiative as well, to raise confidence of students and raise expectations. Following up from Councillor Archer's question, in your year stage 4, what's the number of students that you have generally?
Yeah, so we have about 30 in a year group, so it's going to be around 60 pupils. So it's quite a good percentage of that who opt for either motor or bike mechanics, which is, keen to stress that we are going to look to combine the two areas, which would be great.
So it's it's not a mandatory, but it's either they do this particular one, the mechanics, or they do the bike, or is both have selected? Yeah,
we operate in the same way as most mainstream schools, in that the students get options, choices at the start of end of year 9, moving into year 10. So that's pretty much how we've operated at school. We're trying to become more vocational in light of some of the points that Richard raised earlier. So important to generate opportunities for our young people.
Yeah, thinking about, I know that you said this is something that has been done before or something around that. Now, how do you intend to, transition the students? I know you talked about the college or apprenticeship. How do you intend to transition the students into the wider community?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, we're a stepping stone, effectively. I mean, the majority of our students at 16 would go on to mainstream college, so either Kingston or Nescott. All the local colleges, Brooklands is another one we use. So yeah, so I think that in the case of if they've started their vocational training in mechanics at that age, you know, the emphasis is to encourage them to then further that in the next step at college. So it's a sort of transitional period, really. But I think what we're realising is that the sooner that young people start to gain an interest in an area that they might like to seek employment in when they're older adults, the earlier the better, quite frankly. So this is we feel it's a great opportunity for our cohort. Thank you.
Thank you. So just one last question for me before we move on to the debate. I think you did mention it, but what is there a qualification at the end of the course?
Yes, thank you for raising that. There is. We use a scheme called which is accredited by AQA, which is a national sort of examining board. It's called Unit Award, and that's how we offer. So the units are written specifically, tailored to all the needs of our students, and then you know, not like any exam, you know, but the majority will pass at entry level. Entry level sits just below GCSE. So it's, again, a stepping stone.
Thank you very much. So we're going to move on to the debate now. We need to move on for time. So we're going to move the following recommendation, please. The application for a community neighbourhood grant of £2,782 from St Philip's School, Kingston, as set out in paragraphs 12 to 17 of the report, be approved. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Afilaka. Thank you. So would members of the committee who wish to speak, please raise your hand. Did you want to? Yeah. Councillor Bainon.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, thank you very much for coming today. And
Pleasure.
Very, I'm happy to approve this. And yeah, sounds like you're doing great work. I don't know enough about the school. I'm still learning about for the south and the borough because I come from the Surbiton neighbourhood before. It sounds like you're doing great work, and I think this would be, it's quite a shocking statistic about the number of young people with special educational needs who struggle to find work, and this, at least you're doing something that hopefully will make a small impact in addressing that. And just going to wish you all the best, and very much support the application. So thank you again for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Bainon. Any other members? Would you wish to add? Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to move then to the vote. So can I take this as unanimous, or do you wish to vote, committee? Agreed. Perfect. So I'm very happy to say, Neil, that we would love to give you the full amount of £2,782.
Well, that's
and I would just like to echo what the members have said, that this is a wonderful project and we're really, really happy to support you.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much. The head has also said that everyone is obviously welcome to visit, particularly if you're unfamiliar with St Philip's. We'd love to welcome you. So any chance you get, do come and visit us. So thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
So we're going to now move back to our agenda. So application 2 now, which is the Kitchen Roots community. So this application is the Kingston Roots community in Chessington, as set out in paragraphs 5 to 11 of our report. And again, I'm going to ask Richard if you can give us a brief introduction before I invite Emma up to the microphone. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you very much, Chair. Kitchen Roots Community is a social enterprise collaborating with the community brain in order to feed the local community with healthy, tasty and sustainable meals. The enterprise has recently relocated to St Mary's Hall in Chessington and is able to utilise the recently refurbished kitchen at the venue to provide support to the local community. As members will recall, this was voted through our NSIL bidding process. KRC aims to support people facing food insecurity and poverty by producing a once-a-week community lunch at St Mary's, making use of produce, otherwise destined for landfill from neighbours' New Era CIC, as well as their own grown allotment produce. Meals are provided on a pay-what-you-can basis. The relocation has been due to flooding at the venue in Surbiton, where meals were being provided to between 50 and 80 people in need a month. It's projected that this demand will remain at least the same at the new location, if not increase. KRC are applying for a £3,000 Neighbourhood community grant, as you've said, Chair, in order to undertake the community kitchen project. And table 1 in the report shows the initial budget required to support the project. As you'll note, the costs in the table are to operate the project for a 16-week period. At present, lunch is provided once a week on a Tuesday between 1 and 3. The current shortfall in any costings being made up by a combination of attendees paying, as I've said, what they can for a meal, and the group themselves providing outside catering to local businesses. As well as being a lunch venue, of course, the project is much more. Manny and Emma, the founders, work alongside the community brain and are able to support communities for providing workshops and cooking courses, including cooking on a budget and cooking for long-term medical conditions, healthy eating and cooking for children and young people. All these courses are run with a cook and share practice so that people can eat together, share good food. And in addition, they're able to provide a safe space to meet, cook and share food, supporting locally housed migrant refugee individuals and families in Tolworth at the Baking Ideas. Moving forward, the project will support itself by both using the Pay What You Can, If You Can, and Pay It Forward scheme, where people can buy subsidised meals and donate the same amount to feed someone else for free. They're also going to be running cooking courses in the future and workshops and charging people who can afford it, as well as catering services, I've said, to local businesses and event spaces, with all profits going back into the project. Chair, thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard. So, Emma, could you come to the microphone? And again, you will have 3 minutes. Then members can ask you any questions for up to 5 minutes, and then we'll move to the debate. So thank you, Emma.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you this evening. So yes, I'm Emma, one of the project coordinators of Kitchen Roots Community, and also project manager of the new weekly community lunch at St Mary's Centre. I don't want to repeat too much of what Rich has already said, but yeah, we're a non-profit social enterprise in collaboration with the Community Brain. The Community Brain's got lots and lots of different projects going along, and Manny and myself were brought together to begin this food project in response to people that are facing food insecurity. Excuse me. We have, as Richard said, we also run free cooking courses. Manny's just completed a pre-diabetes cookery course. We have another kitchen in Tolworth. So she ran that there, and I'm just in the middle of a free 8-week batch cooking workshop, tomorrow being week 4, the 4th session. As Richard's already said, some KRC came about at St Mary's Centre after our last venue was flood damaged. And because of our connection with Michelle from New Era community projects, she introduced me to the centre, to the kitchen, and to Jack, who manages the centre, who was very keen for us to start a weekly community lunch, which we began on the 27th of February. So we've run 5 community lunches so far. It's a 2-course meal with a meat and veggie option, often a choice of desserts, teas and coffees. And we try and provide a very welcoming, friendly cafe-type service. So there's tablecloths on the tables, there's always flowers. We welcome people, we take orders at the table so that people feel that they're kind of in that sort of cafe environment. Very much encouraging people to sit together, to talk, as sort of diverse a community as we can encourage. And I think there's already a strong sense that it's becoming part of people's weekly routine.
30 seconds.
30 seconds left. Oh, sorry. We've had lots and lots of lovely feedback. We've welcomed the Kingston Mayor, who was really delighted that we're working in partnership with New Era. We use a lot of their good quality ingredients to sort of keep down on costs. Going forward, we're going to be welcoming a student from an organisation called Beyond Autism as one of our volunteers, supported volunteers.
Thank you. It's wonderful to hear all the great things you're doing, but we've run out of time.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to ask members if they've got any questions, please, for Emma.
Hi, Emma.
Hi.
Hi, Emma.
Hi.
How many people are you getting every week? And, you know, how it sounds really successful so far. Did you say there were 5 lunches you've done so far?
So we've had 5 lunches so far, and yesterday we served 39 people. So it's growing quite rapidly, and the plan is that we reach out more to families in the area with our partnership and connection with the local school. So there's been a letter in the newsletter, and we're going to be working with the head teacher to try and reach specific families that are in need. That's the way going forward that I'd like to kind of increase inclusivity and diversion that way.
Can I just ask another one for a sec? Yeah. So how do you gauge how much, because I'm terrible at guessing. If I've got 10 people coming, I usually you know, do too much. How do you gauge how many's going to come?
I guess through experience. So I started the very first session, I thought there's going to be about 20 people, and that was about right. And obviously as the week goes on, we can increase. If there's any leftovers, then we tend to give them to New Era, and then they are packaged up and given away the next session, or frozen. But actually we haven't really had any leftovers. Okay. It's all gone. Yeah.
That's great. Sounds wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Archer.
Great, thank you so much. So just going to sort of what you were beginning to talk about, kind of the partners you've been working with and the people you've been working with who might have special educational needs and disabilities.
Yeah.
Have you been connecting up with those sort of people from those kind of backgrounds and situations?
Yeah, so Beyond Autism, they actually reached out to us, which is great because I've got a teaching background anyway, and I've got a specific interest in autism. I've done a level 2 Understanding Autism course, so it worked out really, really well. We also have a really good partnership with Kingston University. We've had 3, and we've got a 4th one after Easter, but we've got Kingston University students who are doing photography. They've been coming to take photographs for their projects and also getting involved and kind of volunteering and things. So that's been really good, yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Ansari. Councillor Afalaka.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It sounds like you're doing a great job. My question then is, in terms of inclusivity for people that don't have anything, thinking sustainability as well, long term, this is 16 weeks. What happens when people can't pay, and how do you intend to keep this going, sustainability? Thank you.
So do you mean what happens when people can't afford to pay? Yeah, so we run a pay what you can if you can scheme, and it's donation only. There's no questions asked or expectations for anybody to pay. There's more of a sort of donation bowl system at the end. On the menu, we always list how much the average meal has cost to give people a kind of gauge. And each week that changes, obviously, with how much we've had to spend. We obviously have to top up quite a bit from the donations that we get from New Era because it's not a very consistent supplementation. So I have to top up quite a lot. So when people arrive, they sign in and they can either tick that they're going to pay or that they're not. And then sometimes people don't actually tick that at all because, you know, it's I guess it's a case of not wanting to give that information away. So, you know, there's no questions asked, there's just the bowl at the side sort of thing. But currently quite a few people are donating, and those that aren't are taking away. So we always need to have takeaway boxes. That's part of the budget requirement.
Thank you. So I have a question just about how the £3,000 is going to be used. So obviously what you've given us in the pack is that the cost is just shy, £300 or so of £10,000 for a 16-week course if it was 1 day a week, but you're only asking us for £3,000. So we're presumably that the rest of the money is gathered in the ways that you've described,
Yes,
and this is going part way towards that.
Yeah,
that
so
final cost.
donations and people paying it forward, and then also the catering jobs that we've, between us, Manny and myself, doing for KRC. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So we're going to now move to the recommendation. So the recommendation that can be found in paragraphs 5 to 11 of the report, as Richard read out, is for us to give a neighbourhood community grant of £3,000, and we need to approve that. So do I have a seconder, please? I'm going to take Councillor Archer this time. So does anyone want to debate this? Do we have any other things that we want to say? No. Okay, so can I take it that we have a unanimous vote? Thank you. I have to say we are a wonderful committee. I don't think we've ever disagreed. So we're all of the same mind. So I would love to say to you that we would be very happy to grant the full £3,000.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. That's
Thank you.
wonderful.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll start again. Application 3, Celebrate Chessington 2024. So we are going to talk about this that is set out in paragraphs 18 to 23 of the report. Richard, could you please give us a brief, maybe don't read everything, a brief introduction, please, because we have a lot of knowledge on the committee.
Indeed. Thank you, Chair. Celebrate Chessington Organising Committee have submitted a grant application for £3,000 to support the event planned for 30th of May 2024. They are minded in the committee that it's rare to come back to this committee and ask for repeat funding. However, they sought advice, and because it's the single largest community engagement event of the year in south of the borough, I thought it was appropriate that the report could come to committee under the exceptional circumstances. The event itself has been running for 12 years or just around, and the aims and aspirations are to provide a locally based event for those who may not necessarily be able to get away during school holidays. The original needs analysis that identified a gap between some of the more deprived areas within our neighbourhood, I believe, still stands the test of time, and without this event there would be an extensive gap in the provision to those community. The event itself has gained pace over the years and is now a large community event that brings together the community to help others. For this year, irrespective of the grant outcome, Chair, the event will be supported by Kingston Council as part of its the National Communities Month, which is in June, but by a little bit of negotiation, we've managed to get the 30th of May in. As I said, the aspiration for the event is twofold: the ambition to provide entertainment and fun to the community, but also used as a signposting event, one that can point members of our community in the right direction to support people during harsh times. I think rather than go extensively into that with the knowledge of the committee chair, I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Richard. So I'm very happy to ask the Honorary Alderman, Patricia Bamford, please, to come up, and you will also have 3 minutes to speak, and then we'll ask any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you everyone on the committee. We are very weather dependent. That's the first thing to say. If the weather's good, we have a great year. If the weather's not so good, like it's been so far, then we don't necessarily have the people coming who will then pay for the rides, pay for the foods, and all the kinds of things that actually make sure that our revenue stream can continue and we can reinvest for the following year. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that certain parts of the event are a lot more successful than others, and we need to work on the things that we do well in terms of face painters, for instance. Last year we had 8. They worked their socks off. They didn't stop. They didn't have a break at all for 4 hours. And I had to stand at the end of the queue at 20 minutes past 3 to stop anyone else joining the queue. And I know for sure, because of the discussions I had with some of the parents and their disappointed children when we couldn't get through everybody. So we know we need at least 12 face painters. So that's an additional expense for us, because we do get charged by these people, because they obviously provide all their own materials, and they also have to come with the relevant insurances as well to make sure that we're safe and dealing with all the public liability. Since 2009, when we started, we've been very fortunate to have the same health and safety officer who's helped with doing all the risk assessments for the day, and on the day as well, leading up to it, all the event application forms and all those other things that go on. But sadly, this year, he's unable to attend. So we've been having a bit of a frantic search to find somebody else. And I think we've secured somebody now, but of course there's the costs of securing somebody new are considerably more than what we were paying the guy that we've been paying the same since 2009. The other thing is, in terms of match funding, which we haven't really talked about, I think we've had match funding in the terms of benefits in kind, not just from the council, who play a pivotal part in what we do, but also from lots of other local organisations. Lidl, as a main organisation, they provide all the food for the barbecues. Chesington Garden Centre provide all the cakes for the tea tent. Chesington World of Adventure provide a lot of the utensils and things, and they bring some of the animals and attractions along that are safe for children to handle. We do charge for people who who aren't charities, people who want to have more, not commercial exactly, but people who don't necessarily have such a charitable interest, just to get people. And with that, I'll end it. I'd just like to say thank you to everybody, though, who has contributed so far to make this a success. And we just pray for good weather on May the 30th.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Patricia. So do members have any questions that they would like to ask? No. I don't have any questions either. So we will move then to the recommendation. So the application for a community neighbourhood grant of £3,000 from the Celebrate Chesington 24 Organising Committee, as set out in paragraphs 18 to 23 of the report. We recommend that it be approved. So do I have a seconder? Councillor Ansari. Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak, or shall we move to the resolution? Let's move. So can I take this as unanimous? Yes, wonderful committee. Thank you very much for coming. And
you are a wonderful committee, so thank you. And can I just say, as a spin-off from Emma's events, I've been going there. There's a young student who's coming to do BR photographer for the day, for the fun day.
Oh, wonderful.
Just to come, and which is great, from Kingston Uni.
Yeah.
And secondly, there's a guy who's plays the piano to just enhance the ambience at Emma's community roots lunch, who's going to come along and play keyboard for the main entertainment arena as
wonderful.
well. So all
That's
of these
really
things
great.
are linking up in a way that you could only ever hope for.
Great.
So thank you
well,
all.
thank you for coming, Patricia, and we're really happy to support you. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, so just as exciting, Richard, is our next item, Neighbourhood Manager's Report. Over to you. Sorry,
you, Chair.
that's a really nice introduction.
So really, just the committees across the board have just asked for a review, really, of what our neighbourhood rangers do, and in supporting your neighbourhoods. And without going through each one individually, paragraph 1 is a broad brush, if you like, of the most common tasks they undertake. And within the report are a couple of tables, one with the details of what they did in February in our South Borough neighbourhood, and that's up to the 29th, due to when the pre-agenda meeting was. And then the following table is year to date. It's noticeable, of course, if you look at February, 136 tasks undertaken, a high percentage, almost a third, being removal of fly tips, which probably won't surprise anybody, and 19 events, so just shy of 15% of those tasks are using those vans to transport equipment, materials, and include taking those fly tips to Villiers Road. The year to date, it's still very early in the year, of course, but the 2-month trends very much mirror the 1-month trend for February. And it's true to say, with the exception of New and Old Malden, has got a slight bit, all 3 neighbourhoods are top for graffiti and fly tips, really, to be honest with you. So, are there any questions before I move on to the second part of the report now? So, just moving swiftly on, councillors aspire to have visibility on all their ward funding, and we have a scenario where, for the first time ever, I'm going to say I've got 100% spend on my ward funding of £2,000 from each councillor. So thank you very much to everybody for that. For people in the public gallery and online, there's a very wide variety of projects supported by council ward funding, through to the hanging baskets and planters you see across south of the borough, through to food bank support and support for other charities, including Yorda. I don't presume to list them, but if people want to go online, look at today's date, there's a comprehensive list of where the money goes. And once again, thank you, members, for using all the money up. Just a couple extra little ones, Chair, with your support. Over on the table there, I've got a little form from our wellbeing and public health team. There's a family health and wellbeing event next Wednesday the 3rd of April, between 10 and 12 and 1 and 3 at the Chessington Children's Centre in Buckland Road. There'll be under 5 soft play. I'm looking forward to that myself. Sensory activities, face glitter and tattoos, rhyme time. But the most important thing, allied actually with the last grant application, it's a fun event for children, going with signposting for parents at a time of need. So what we're going to do, we're going to develop this with the Celebrating Chessington Committee as well, and ask if these people come down to that event. And finally, on a somewhat sadder note, but not really in so much as it's a celebration, there'll be people, I'm sure we all remember ex-councillor Christine Stewart. We're finally in a position to announce, Chair, that there will be a memorial tree planted in the grounds of RF Chessington on Friday the 12th of May at 11 a.m, and everybody is welcome to attend. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. So, committee, please note that we have some updates in the report that Richard mentioned to the original itinerary. So it's really interesting to hear the breadth of work that the Rangers do, and I personally find it quite interesting looking at all the different activities. It's sad that fly tipping is still at the top, but I think it demonstrates the work that our Rangers do as to how quickly they're able to respond to those requests from the public when they're made. And I have to say, members, congratulations on making sure that we've used all our money for really worthwhile projects. Are we the only committee that has spent all our ward councillor funding, Richard?
I would love to say yes, though everybody's been very well behaved this year, Chair.
That's what either way, I think I'm very proud of all of us, because we're putting our money towards projects that make a difference. So congratulations, everybody. And thank you very much for bringing to our attention the memorial tree planting on the 12th of May at 11 o'clock for Christine Stewart. So as many of us will try to make that as we can. Does anyone members have any questions or comments to make to Richard? No. So we'll move very quickly on to item 10, because then I believe you have to be excused Richard, thank you. So we'll move on to item 10, which is council award funding working arrangements for the municipal year 24-25. You'll find that in your packs as Appendix C. So our council award funding working arrangements are proposed to be the same this year as they were last year. And to give a very brief introduction to the report and the summary, over to you, Richard.
Eunice gets his turn in a minute, honestly. I'll keep it brief. The £2,000 council award funding, what we're asking, and the only reason we're asking early this year, which I think is a step forward, is members have asked us to shorten the gap in a non-election year so they can use ward funding quite sensibly at that April-May time when communities come to us and ask for funding rather than say you have to do it in June. So we've brought this with a view of asking what you would like to do with your ward funding, and rather than go through them in detail, the options are keep it as it is, £2,000 per ward member to use as you wish, to pool the money and put it into neighbourhood grant, the neighbourhood grant pot, and then your allocations would be at this committee under the rules of the neighbourhood community grant process, or pool the money in what I would call the Surbiton model, if you like. The decision's still made at committee, but under the council award funding guidelines, not the neighbourhood community grant guidelines. And I think, Chair, I'll leave it there if that's okay.
Thank you very much. So I am minded to just ask any members of the gallery if you'd like to make any comments at this juncture. Yes, would you like to come to the microphone? Thank you.
Can I say that I just feel that when it's agreed by individual councillors what they'd like to submit, it does bring it closer to the neighbourhoods that they represent. Whereas if you put it all in one big pot, it could end up the far side of Kingston. Whereas if Sue decides she wants something down the road that is really right for the community, she can get it done with that individual 2000s rather than a pooled fund.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so I will now move the recommendation. So the committee's current working arrangements for the allocation of council award funding as set out in paragraph 2A of the report. So just to remind everyone that we are looking to resolve allowing individual members to allocate their council award funding individually. So that also gives us the choice that if Mark and I, for example, want to pool our individual money together as councillors of the same ward, we could do that, but we could also spend it separately. So it gives us both choices within that one category. So that is our working arrangements as set out in paragraph 2A of the report, and we are recommending that this be maintained for 2024-2025 of the municipal year. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Bainon. So would members of the committee who wish to speak please indicate? Councillor Archer and Councillor Bainon, thank you.
So just sort of echoing what Sue's just said, that the lovely thing about keeping it individual is that we can keep it as local as possible, and it can literally be a project down the road in the ward, very localised, and we can respond to residents as well when they come to us and say, oh, there's this issue here, or there's this wayside garden, and we can be really flexible. And Richard, I just say thank you for your work that you've done, that you're very, just how quickly we can turn things around. Because we do obviously know other things in the council can take a very long time. Whereas at least with this element, we can turn around quite quickly and make a difference quite quickly. And that's just really great for residents. So yeah, really pleased to be keeping it, this localised approach.
Thank you. Councillor Bainon.
Yeah, just much the same, really. I think this is the best way forward, having been Surbiton Neighbourhood as well. I like the fact, we can be very quick. We can get to people as well who wouldn't normally think about asking for funding, or who think it's just so small that they, that why they wouldn't, will be worth the effort, or something the council will consider. We can help people that wouldn't otherwise be covered if we were to pool the monies together. I mean, we can pool money together if we want to, but we have that choice. But we have the ability to help lots of people who wouldn't otherwise get the support Yeah, we have the local knowledge. So I think it's a small amount of money, but can go far and help people who wouldn't otherwise be able to or would know to come to the council. So yeah, in favour of keeping it as it is. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd just like to add as well that I think having the process of having to come to committee, I think, in my view, that can potentially stifle, and it can be quite intimidating for some people. They might not want to come into a committee environment. So to be able to approach councillors one-on-one, I think, is more approachable, and it means that more people hopefully will be coming to us with their requests that we can discuss. Thank you. So I'm concluding that I'm hearing everyone saying the same thing. So can I take it as unanimous that we're all in agreement that we go with individual members allocating their money individually? Yes. Thank you. Wonderful. Okay, so Eunice. Yes, thank you, Richard, and thank you to our gallery member for being here tonight. So we move on to item 11, which is the introduction of a traffic management measure on Hunters Road. You'll find the details in Appendix D of your report. So this next item is to introduce traffic measurements on Hunters Road, and I'm going to ask Eunice Hamadi, please, who is our principal engineer, to please introduce the report. Thank you, Eunice.
Thank you, Chair. We receive a lot of concern from local residents and ward members about the junction of Hunters Road and Fulwood Way South, and about the Hunters Road itself. By doing double parking, not enough room for people to pass. So hence we consult the resident on Hunters Road on two proposals. The first proposal was the one you see on the screen, which is the introduction of speed humps. And the reason for that is speed humps will reduce the speed for everybody approaching the mini roundabout, which will force them to slow down, because currently they just go straight without slowing down and taking into consideration the other traffic. So therefore, by doing such a scheme, we felt that will improve the road safety and will force the drivers to slow down. So, and we consult the resident as well on introducing a single yellow line, double yellow line, I do apologize, double yellow line at some location on Hunters Road. So these two have been sent to the resident, and they've been asked to let us know their view on their consultation. So we sent 98 letters out. We received 18 reply back. So if you can see in the report, we have 16.67% of the residents, they are unhappy with the current situation, and 55.56 unhappy, 16.67 happy. However, when we ask them if they support the scheme on the Fulwood Way, so there was 55.56, they said happy with the scheme, and 38.89 are not happy with the scheme. And when we ask them if they support the yellow line, we have 72.22 agree with the scheme, and 27.78 are not. But if you go into a bit further, not all the 18 responses received are from Elm Road. From Hunters Road, sorry, because I was presenting Elm Road yesterday in Kingston committee night. So not 18, all of them are on Hunters Road. Only 12 are from Hunters Road itself. So if you look to the data in front of you, there is 6, they do support the road humps, and 5 people, they do not support the road humps, and one of them is undecided. The result is in front of you. When we ask the resident, these are 12 residents, 8 of them, they support the double yellow line, and 4 of them, they do not support the double yellow line. However, taking all these comments into consideration and the result, and the need for road safety at the junction of Hunters Road and Fulwood Way. As an officer, we are recommending for the members to note the result and note the report and to approve the introduction of this mini roundabout on Hunters Road and the yellow line in Hunters Road. But that will be subject to traffic management order to the double yellow line. And we're asking members as well, instead of me, because if there is an objection, which we do expect objections, always you expect objection in yellow line, instead of bringing the objection back to this committee for consideration, we ask members if they can authorize be delegated power to the assistant director and to, in consultation with the chair, vice chair, and the committee ward members in order to deal with the objection, but we will bring an information item to here in order to make it formal, how you make a decision on the objection which has been received. Then we can inform all the residents of that committee decision. I'm happy to take any question, Chair.
Thank you. So before we open questions to members, do any members of the public gallery want to ask any questions or make any comments, I should say? No. Okay. So we now move from the chair the recommendation on page D1 before we discuss it. So before I do that, can I just confirm that point 3 about delegating to the Assistant Director of Highways, Transport and Regulatory Services in consultation with Chair and Vice Chair of the Committee and relevant ward members, effectively, so that we're all clear, we are saying that we're not going to bring the decision back to the committee, but we will still have a discussion with relevant members and Chair and Vice Chair.
Yes, Chair. Instead of bringing the objection back here, any objection received, we will call Chair, Vice Chair, and ward members with the Assistant Director and discuss this objection. Then you can make a decision. If you want to set it aside, or you may decide to bring the report back to this committee, you want it to be discussed on an open platform. So it's your call to decide at that time.
Thank you, just to clarify that for everyone. So then the committee is asked to resolve these 4 points, as Eunice has said. The result of the consultation be noted. In light of the consultation results analysis, the proposed measures of installing new speed humps at each entry of the mini roundabout on Hunters Road and the yellow line waiting restrictions on Hunters Road be approved for implementation, subject to a statutory TMO, traffic management order consultation, and that the authority be delegated to the Assistant Director of Highways, Transport and Regulatory Services in consultation with the Chair, Vice Chair of the Committee and relevant ward members, and then we deal with any objections received if we do receive them from the TMO consultation, and that we then inform the residents of the committee's decision. So, a bit of a mouthful. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Archer. So, would any members of the committee wish to speak? Councillor Archer and Councillor Bainham, thank you.
Yeah, so thank you so much for all the work that's taken place on this. It's not a straightforward road and junction. So I know there's no perfect solutions, but I do think from the work you've done and the consultation with the residents, this does show this is the best possible outcome, and I do think the best solution. And it'll be really sort of good to implement it and agree to it tonight. And then we'll just see how it goes and see how, we really hope that residents experience a benefit. And I'm really hopeful that they will. So thank you, and I just strongly support this.
Thank you. And Councillor Bainham.
Can we ask questions? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Did you say no? Yes, yes, you can.
Don't want to get in trouble. Yeah, thank you very much, Eunice, for bringing this forward. I know, yeah, this is a road, I know, well, half of it's in my ward, and yeah, it's we had lots of people complaining about the traffic down there, and I've seen it firsthand. And so it's good that we're doing something. And yeah, broadly, I know it's a small sample. It's always the way with consultations, but it seems that people generally are in favour of doing something, and this, what we're doing seems to have broad support amongst the small number of people who have responded. Just thinking about other than the roundabout, would have we considered maybe speed bumps further along the road, maybe either side of the junction? I'm thinking of Hunters Road on my ward. I don't know about the other side. I think it's probably similar there in terms of speeding, rather than just having. At the moment, I think it's just speed bumps at the roundabout. Has there been consideration about putting speed bumps further down the road as well?
Not as a part of this scheme, because this scheme we are addressing the road safety element at the junction of Hunters Road and Furwood Way, where the people do not wait at the mini roundabout and they take it with the speed. So therefore, the allocation we have for this financial year, almost at the end, so we will addressing this. However, I'm very pleased to say there is some money for next year, 24-25. If you want us to consider introduction of further traffic calming measures along Hunters Road, we can consider it, and we can discuss it with the ward members, both sides, because my concern is at the moment is resident, they like the concept of road humps, but they don't like them outside their houses. So I think if the concept you think, I'm happy to take it forward, and we can consider it when we bring the local implementation plan allocation for next year. So I'm happy to take that into consideration.
Okay, thank you. I get the point.
Yes, you can ask a supplementary question.
I got in trouble anyway. I'm thrown out. Yeah, so in terms of, I get people don't necessarily like speed bumps outside the house. I think there'll be another consultation, but at least we've got it on the radar, and you've heard me say that that's something maybe we'd like to look at. But I guess also just another point, it's just not just about the residents, I guess, the speed, it's a road used by lots of people, so it'll be about safety for all road users as well as the residents. But I guess it's something to be picked up. Otherwise, thank you again, and I am glad that something's been done, and it seems to be generally to have the support of local residents, and so I'm very much in favour. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bainon. And I think it's worth just stating, because it may not be obvious, that Hunters Road falls between two wards, so part of it sits in King George's and Sunray Ward, and part of it sits in Hook and Chessington North. So it's we've got everyone possible that could be involved supporting residents. So and I just want to echo what Councillor Archer said. Thank you, Eunice, because I know this has been quite a lot of work, which is very important, but for quite a small road, but it's really important that we protect the safety of residents and road users. So, did you? No. Okay. So we're going to move to the resolution now. So, I'm hearing that we may have a unanimous vote here, everybody. Yes. Thank you. So we will have a unanimous vote on that. Thank you very much. So moving on to our last point, which includes some late material that was published this afternoon. So this is the Toby Way permit parking area proposal, and thank you very much to Trish Johnson, because I know you've waited a long time to hear this, so thank you for your patience. Well, longer than tonight, I know that, yes. So the next item, as we said, you'll find on Appendix E of the report. The late materials were published earlier on today, providing amendments to the recommendations and adding an Annex A showing exactly where the PPA, the permit parking area, will be, which will be shown on the map with a different, this is not it there, right, there we go.
Exactly that.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that members don't need time to read the late material. No, you don't. Good. Okay, so Eunice, please, could you introduce our report?
Thank you, Chair. Since the development of the Signal Park and Let's Own Close brought some issue for the people who live in the area. Unfortunately, as a part of this development, we lost number of parking spaces for Dean Court, and so therefore, ward members felt, working with the local resident, something needs to be done in order to address the lack of parking as a result of this development. So therefore, they ask officers to develop a scheme, and that is what we have in front of you here. It is a result of the consultation, working with board members on developing parking permit scheme for the area. We send a consultation letter to the resident, and we have 9 responses back, and the majority of the responses are in support of the scheme, and they would like to see the parking permit being implemented as quickly as possible. However, as a part of that, the consultation, it went to the due court. However, the scheme what we have in front of us at the moment will be only eligible for the resident of resident of Dean Court, which be allowed to purchase a permit. If I can make it clear that what that mean to the resident and to the members, would that mean only the people whose name on this list are allowed to purchase a permit. Anybody, their name or their addresses, when I say name, not your name as an individual, your property address. So if your property address are on the list, you are able to purchase a permit for yourself and for your visitor as well. But if your name is not on this, you cannot purchase a permit. So therefore, it's very important to understand what you're voting now, members. At the moment, I'm asking you to note the result of the consultation and a permit parking area in Toby Way as indicated at Annex 1, as you can see it on the screen. And as you can see, the orange line, it is where the parking bay it will be. This parking bay will not be marked because the parking permit area, we don't mark bays. And we are hoping that will encourage or will more capacity if the people park properly, because if people sometimes, unfortunately, but hopefully they will learn later on how to park within that area. So therefore, I'm asking member, please resolve that. The result of the consultation be noted. A parking permit area in Toby Way as indicated at Annex 1 of the report, and only Dean Court residents and visitors will be eligible to apply for a permit, be approved for implementation, with a parking restriction from Monday till Saturday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., subject to statutory consultation, and the resident be informed of the committee decision. I want members to be aware, if there is any objection, we need to come back to this committee in order to address, because that will be all of it subject to traffic management order publication. I'm happy to take any question, Chair.
Thank you, Eunice. So before we do that, any members of the public, do you wish to make any comments? Please come up to the mic.
I'm really sorry. My hearing's not great, so I didn't catch all of your comments. From what I understand, you're only permitting people on a
Dean Court.
Yeah. So it's just Dean Court. Is that the criteria? Just Dean Court. Yeah. Fine. Okay. And secondly, well, another one. Sorry. Another one. It's being said that from one property of Dean Court, they can apply for more than one permit. Is that right?
Yes. So yes, I'll let Eunice clarify. Yes.
The way how it works, if a resident lives in number 1 Dean Court, okay, and he have. If somebody lives in number 1 Dean Court and he has more than one car, but if both cars are registered to one person, he can't apply for more than one permit.
Right.
But if husband and wife, each one of them has his own car, and this car is registered to each one of them, yes, they can purchase 2 permits.
Right. Okay. I can't really see that plan, so I don't really know where in Toby Way we're talking. I'm sorry.
So this is where your flats are. This is the A240. This is the A3. So they're here and here.
Oh, right, okay. So is this the one outside of Signal Park?
Yes, Signal Park is here, the
Yeah.
bowling alley is here, and your flats are here.
Right, okay.
No, that's
Yeah,
just
so
what your flats are here.
So
Sorry.
these are the bays that are actually marked at the moment?
Yes, but they're not going to have a white line either side.
Right, well, that was my next point.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Chair, my next point is how is this allocation going to be programmed? I mean, if there's no white lines and there's no specific parking spaces, how do we get these permit places?
Thank you, Chair. The way how we introduce a scheme, any controlled parking zone or parking permit area, we don't allocate bay to individuals.
Right.
So if you have a permit, only what you need, just go and park there, and you have your permit showing, that's it. That's all what you need.
Okay.
We do not allocate space to a permit.
Right, okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
What happens if someone without a permit parks in one of our spaces?
Enforcement officer will come and issue ticket, because if we have a parking scheme, we will have enforcement officer coming to visit the site regularly.
Okay.
So anybody parking there is not resident, he will get a ticket. If you know anybody there, you can call the enforcement team and they can come and issue ticket if
Okay.
he doesn't have a permit.
How do we find the enforcement team?
If you go into our online system, the same number who you call, if somebody park outside driveways, then you can call the same number, and those people are the enforcement team. They can send somebody and issue ticket.
Right, okay,
We will make sure you get the number, Trish.
okay. What sort of time scale are we talking? Part of that question is what sort of time scale are we talking? Because at the moment we're permitted to park on Lansdowne Close and I believe Toby Way because they're still not officially designated roads. But I don't know when these restrictions are going to come back into force.
All right.
So I mean, would it coincide with the permits and losing the availability we have at the moment?
Okay, I'm doing this double yellow line too as well. So all the scheme, it's my scheme, and I'm doing it. So yes, you are absolutely right. The waiting restriction is not yet enforceable because the traffic management order, it hasn't been made yet. So the timeline for this, we need, after now committee approve the scheme, we need to publish the traffic management order. The traffic management order, it is the statutory document which make it legal. Then we can issue a fine to the people who park there. So we have to put it in the local newspapers for 3 weeks and in the London Gazette and in the street. Anybody can object. So if anybody live in the area, he can object. And if they object, I need to bring the report back here to this committee. I need to put the objection, and they need to make a decision if they want to set it aside or they want to uphold it. If they set it aside, then I can do and make the traffic management order, and I'll implement the scheme. But if they decide to uphold it, the whole scheme will be cancelled.
Right, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't get a chance to get sort of straight answers immediately. Were these letters sent to Drayton Court as well? did they have an opportunity to respond?
These letters that the letters that you're talking about, Trish, just for everyone who may be listening and for the recording, was the kind of the first part of the consultation. They were sent to Drayton Court and Dean Court, but the proposal that we are, the resolution that we are agreeing or not agreeing in a minute is only for Dean Court.
Okay. Right. Okay. And
Sorry, can I answer your question?
Yeah.
Yes. The Dean Court resident, they will receive a letter when the publication of the traffic management order is out. Okay, so we need to make sure they are aware when the time is out, when it is out. So if anybody want to object, they can object.
Okay. Right. Okay. One final
Last
thing,
one.
may I?
Last one.
Okay. Sort of rather a major one, I'm afraid. I did, once we had these letters, I did send you an email saying that a couple of the residents don't feel that this permit is enough because they don't come home until after 6 o'clock. By 6 o'clock, there's no spaces. I mean, we've found that now, so. I mean, the permit people will be taking their spaces, and any other spaces that are available will be gone by whoever.
I think wherever we introduce a parking scheme, the parking scheme, I can't say they will address the issue during night time. However, our experience here shows if somebody, he doesn't have a permit, he knows if he parked there, he needs to remove the car by 8 a.m. because that's when the new restriction coming. Mm-hmm. So our experience shows a lot of people, they can't bother. So they won't park there after 6 o'clock because they don't want to come back at 8, before 8 a.m. to take the car and find an alternative location to park. So, but we will review the situation. So we need, as always with our scheme, we put the scheme and we review it after 1 year.
Okay.
And that's what we'll be doing here as well.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much for your time. And I'm sorry, anybody else.
No, thank you, Trish. And I know this affects you directly, so we're happy to answer your questions. So thank you. So I'm going to move the debate then for our recommendation, for our debate. So the committee is asked to resolve that, number 1, the result of the consultation be noted. Number 2, the parking permit area in Toby Way as indicated in Annex 1 of the late material, and only Dean Court residents and visitors will be eligible to apply for a permit, be approved for implementation with parking restrictions for Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m, subject to a statutory traffic management order consultation as described by Eunice just now, and that the residents be informed of the committee's decision. So do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Bainon, thank you. Members of the committee, if you wish to speak, would you like to indicate? Trish, you're very welcome to sit back. Thank you. Does anyone wish to ask any questions or comments of Eunice?
I think we've had a good description and lots of thorough questions on this scheme. But just say, thank you very much, Eunice. Thank you, Chair. I know you've done a lot of work on this as well. Hopefully, Trish, this will be a good outcome for the residents. I think it should be, but we will continue to monitor the situation. But I think it's a good plan, and I can support the recommendations. And thank you to everyone for all their hard work.
Yeah, and I would just like to add, I think we've worked well collaborating. So thank you, Trish, for your support in putting this forward with your co-residents. And I'm happy that we can offer something to hopefully help the situation. So can I take this that the decision is unanimous, everybody? Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. So, point 13, urgent items. There are no urgent items by the chair, so I will close this meeting at 14 minutes past 9. Thank you very much, everybody.